What are you doing again in my kitchen? Now, I'm not going to cook anything today, but I will soon. Since you're here, let's talk about something I find kind of interesting overseas. And I'm talking about coffee. If you know, and if you don't, I'm just telling you, I'm a caffeine junkie. I drink coffee since before I can remember I'm drinking it, and I was quite young. From that time on, I developed a little healthy addiction to coffee, most important to good coffee. Now, all over the world, every culture makes its own coffee, and it makes it amazing. I'm now talking about the Italian culture of coffee, so please do not feel offended by this video. It's not meant to put Italian coffee on top of others. It's just because being Italian is what I can talk about. Although in my travels around the world I could definitely appreciate the brews, and I really recognize the quality of coffee worldwide. As Italian overseas, the big issue is find a coffee that reminds you home, sort of, that kind of comfort coffee, let's call it like this. Instead of comfort food, we can call it comfort coffee. And yeah, that's probably what is missing. I'm not saying that around the cities there are not good coffee shops. Absolutely, there are amazing coffee shops in the city, and they have a massive production of very good coffee. What I'm talking about is the coffee at home. When you wake up in the morning and you do your own breakfast, you must have coffee as breakfast. Very good coffee. Since I moved to Australia, I just adapted my own taste as well to the local, and I sadly introduced in my house instant coffee. I know, you are hating me now, and you are thinking to stop this video, but don't. The best has yet to come. Instant coffee is something that I'm not even sure if it exists in Italy. I do not remember to having seen it in the store at all, but probably some kind of instant coffee exists over there too, because we are getting global, and this is being global, is appreciate and accept even differences in food and drinks. For quick breakfast or quick fixes, when you really need a big mug of coffee, this one does the job. Yeah, I know. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm feeling sad. Now you see this, there is Moka brand, but I don't want to do any preference on this kind of products because no one is giving me anything. So I have to mention that there's also the Nescafe brand that they're doing exactly the same. It's not a very good alternative to real coffee. It's something that you get used to, and it's something that it doesn't taste bad at all. Then we start become serious. There are semi-automatic and fully automatic machines to make coffee. They are bloody expensive, and I will never buy one because to maintain them in proper use and to avoid that the coffee will start tasting plastic or tasting bad, you really have to use it every single day, at least twice a day. But there's another thing. We are in Australia, and like all over the world, Nespresso took over, and it's luckily everywhere. So I have my Nespresso machine, and that's a very, very good alternative. You don't know what I'm talking about? Come with me. It's the Nespresso U, and it's the fully automatic one. You can do it 60, 80, 110 ml of water, so it's still a reasonable Italian quantity of coffee. It's not a mug of coffee. So yeah, you know, you have your own capsules, and I have my favorites here that unfortunately were the limited editions. I'm using this video also to ask Nespresso to bring back the Milano one. Milano is my favorite ever. Please bring back Milano. I have this latest special edition as well. And Palermo. Very good coffee, and I can have my small shot of coffee. But I told you that I'm Italian, and we have our own coffee. We have our own idea of coffee. This one. Ta-da! This one here, my friends, is the Italian coffee machine. It's what we call mocha, and it's not the mocha coffee, the one coffee, chocolate and milk. It's mocha, and it's spelled with C, so it's spelled M-O-C-A, because in Italian we rarely use the letter K, but for English speaking and even for branding here, it's spelled with K, so it's M-O-K-A. Where I grew up, we spell it with C. This one is the Mocha Express by Bialetti. I feel confident telling you the brand because it's probably one of the best worldwide brand that you can find this kind of machine. This is the 2 serving size, so it's a small one. It exists in 1 serving size that is even tinier, and it exists up to 10, 12, and I've seen Guinness World Record a machine that they're huge because we are crazy. For domestic use, the bigger I found around here is a 6 serving, so it's a pretty big machine. Lately, I found even Italian family that they stopped using it because the automatic machines just replaced it. And it's fair enough at some stage, but sometimes you want to go back to your tradition. You want to remember the smell of coffee when you wake up in the morning. You want to remember the sound of this machine, the specific sound that this machine does when the coffee is brewing. It's a bit of a journey back in memories. So now you see this fancy thing and you definitely wonder, yes, how do I use it? It's simple, I'm showing you now. So we have the 3 components, how this works. You have the water chamber, that is the bottom side, the one that will sit on the hub and will contain water. You have the filter or powder container with this fancy shape. And you have the brewing chamber, well, the final results will actually be achieved. And it has the filter on its bottom as well. So how does it work, this fancy coffee machine? It's simple, come with me. As you know, this is my actual kitchen, so sorry for the mess. What we have to do is filling boiling chamber with water. Cold water is always on favor up to the safety valve. This here, this is the safety valve. And then you have to just put powder container there. We need good coffee. This is a ground single origin from Ethiopia that I bought in a coffee shop that imports his own coffee in Canberra. So this is quite good quality stuff. I like experimenting, I like trying different things, and I really want you to do the same. So this is an Ethiopian coffee and it will be amazing. So what we do simply, we just take our coffee powder and we just put it in the containers. Here is the key point. There are different school of thoughts about this procedure. There are people who are actually filling it way on top and pressing it like this. And this is similar to how in the coffee shops they will do. If you know how they do, they just ground the coffee in that receiver and then they press it in and then they chunk it into the machine. Okay, that works well in high pressure coffee machines like the one that they use in coffee stores, because this thick layer, of course, is where the water must pass through to brew the coffee. So the thicker, in this kind of machine, the thicker usually the stronger it comes, but also the slower. And I noticed that it tends to burn a little bit if you just compress it in this kind of machine. I'm just going to poke it a little bit so there is a little bit of hair around the coffee. I don't know if I'm doing it right. This is how I do it and this is how I like my coffee. So feel free to correct me. I'm not here telling you that this is the way to do it. It's just one way. And then final touch, we have to close back our brewing chamber on top, but quite tight. Just be careful to not burn the handle. Coffee is ready. And when I'm talking about 2 servings, I mean this, not a mug. That is delicious and it's very, very hot, of course. Now, what it remains to do is let the mocha machine chill and then wash it, because you have to dispose of the coffee powder inside and you have to give it a quick rinse. Pro tip, never use any kind of detergent in washing the mocha, because you are going to ruin your coffee and affect the flavor a lot. Just rinse it with cold water and let it dry, because that will retain the quality of the flavor and also Every time you make it, it will taste better and better. I wanted to mention that there are different millions of ways to make coffee. I use the French press, AeroPress, vertical drip. At the same time, this is the way to make coffee that takes me home every single time. It's the aroma, it's the sound, it's the procedure of making it. That's how I grew up. I hope you are enjoying your coffee right now, because I'm going to. And until next time, stay tuned. It's good.